So I'm gonna try to give tips for each boss as I go through them, and hopefully I'll be able to do this first try. This is all bosses, all major bosses. There are no rewards to be gained upon completing this grueling life or death struggle. That's... I like how it says that. I like that. Now, supposedly you don't actually lose any items that you spend here. So I'm gonna use, like, Jizo statues if I run out of resurrections or something. Great stagger. Right, I said I would give tips. So always grapple when you can, otherwise he'll hit you with a root. Well, he didn't do it this time. He will attempt to use like a attack that's a lot harder to block. You can sometimes get 2 hits in when he does when you grapple onto him. Oniwa is actually a pretty straightforward fight. Grapple onto him, and otherwise, it's just to sort of get good parry value. You can use firecrackers to spook the horse. That'll give you like 2 free hits though, so I don't really consider it worth it. But if you have a decent amount of attack power, which on your first playthrough you'll have the appropriate amount. And if you're fighting all the bosses you can, then you're going to have a decent amount of attack power. Very straightforward fight. And recommended tools, firecrackers if you want them. Not needed. Butterfly. You will need shurikens against her. I have the Lazulite shurikens equipped just because they do the most damage and they cost still just 1 spirit emblem, but it's not exactly necessary. But yeah. Whenever she jumps onto her wires, while she's in the air, you can while she's in the air, you can enter with shuriken, and it does extra posture and health damage. Oh, that's interesting. There's a sort of pattern you can follow. He doesn't always engage in it. It's like 3 hits and then parry, and then 3 hits and then parry. In this case it was 2. She's actually a pretty difficult boss fight for considering that she's like the first real boss in the fight. Okay, after phase 1, right, I forgot to mention something. You will need snap seeds, probably. Whenever she casts her like illusion, she snaps. She casts her illusions, and a bunch of like ghostly Mibu village people come around and spam unblockable attacks at you. Just go into the center of the rooms, snap a snap seed, and almost all of them will disappear. Any that are in the range of the snap seed. If you get them all, you get them all. Sometimes one or two are left, and you don't have to worry about them that much. You can use another if you want. But since I just finished phase 1, watch this. Run over here. See this puddle of water? She will jump off this thing and land right in front of that puddle of water. And then you can hit her a couple 3 times. Good way to start phase 2. Those golden things are unblockable, and they do damage to you. And unparryable, too. Just try to avoid them. You can dash out of the way of them. Right. So, like I said, a bunch of little dudes spamming unblockable attacks. Single snap seed is usually enough for them. Probably her most difficult combo, but the attacks are regularly spaced, and she always ends that combo with her just sweep attack. Just jump in. Gotta heal. Die. She doesn't always use this a second time, but sometimes she does. You'll rarely, if ever, need 3 snap seeds in this fight, but sometimes. That was the pattern I was talking about earlier. You can get her into it.
腕を上げたね、狼。
Alright, who's next? Next is Genichiro Ashina. You don't need any special tools or items to fight him. I don't know if you can do stuff like anti-air death blows when he jumps into the air. I wouldn't recommend even trying. Genichiro is a straight up get good fight. He'll be attacking you, parry him, attack him back. You can get into a couple like attack parry, attack parry, attack parry combos with him. And otherwise you're just focusing on the appropriate responses to his attacks. As you can see, I'm not the best person, but I know what I'm doing. That spin combo attack in the first 2 phases. Oh, I did not expect that one sec. In the first 2 phases, he will not follow that attack with another attack, but in the final phase, he will use a stab almost every time afterwards. So you can just carry him. I meant to jump there. I did not mean to attack. That attack has some awkward timings, but it almost never varies, so I think in the inner fight he might have some slightly different timings on one attack, but it's not too hard. Otherwise, yeah, like I said, straight up just get good fight. When you play as aggressively against him as I do, he almost never uses that grab. But since I took a second to heal, it gave him his opportunity. Third phase, he will always start with that dash, or the stab attack. He uses some lightning attack. You don't really need to pay attention to them. Or at least you don't need to try to do the... See, stab attack. You don't need to try to do the reverse, the lightning reversal on it. Because they're very, like, aimed. And yes, I do personally think that phase 3 Genichiro is because those lightning attacks are more than anything. If you're not like, oh no, he's using lightning at me. If you don't react like that, they're honestly just a break from the rest of the fight. So they're not bad at all. Right, next is Guardian Ape. I love this fight. I absolutely adore this fight. Most people probably don't, because it is quite difficult. And it took me so many tries the first time. Oh my goodness. So, as far as tools, you want... you can use the Phoenix's Lilac Umbrella, the purple umbrella, because his Scream in the second phase is a fear attack, and this will just block all of that. I personally don't, because I just run away from it. And you'll start to recognize the motions he does right before he actually uses the Scream, and you can react to it even before the little unblockable flash warning sign pops up. He'll put his head back on, literally. But I always use a spear. I'm using the Spiral Spear just because it also has a 1 spirit cost, because the Fire Spear has 2. Just so I can use it more. But you'll see when I use the spear in phase 2, it's a very straightforward combo, and it does huge health and posture damage. But phase 1 is a very weird get good fight. Always carry that twice, or just straight block it. He likes to use that attack a lot. I hesitated. Hit him enough times during that, he will like stagger, and you can do like a lot of damage to it. He's got a move on me. Ah, no, I did it. I waited again. Like I said, I'm not going to be perfect with this, but... I did it again. If you get him to stagger, just keep spamming attack, and eventually he'll fall over and run around and probably run after you and do this. Always run away from that. If you're close enough, even if you dodge it, it will, or even if you jump or dash, it will still hit you. And it does like 80-90% of your health. Got him. Alright, now make sure you have the spear equipped. If you have the heal on death blow ability already, then you will get 2 counts of that from every time you get like a shinobi execution thing. Because it always requires 2 death blows, and they're in quick succession. Then just wait for him to stand back up. Don't think he takes damage while he's standing back up, except at the very end of it. But if you're confident in your parrying against his attack, see, he's putting his head back on, and I immediately start running away. I don't even use You're confident in parrying. Unlike me, apparently. This is an exceptionally easy attack to parry. 1, 2, and then it comes up. Alright. Right trigger, forward dash, attack. And then he'll follow it up with a yell. That just did a massive amount of both posture and health damage. Every time he does a combo like this, you can do it again. Right trigger, forward dash, attack, attack, attack. And sometimes the combos are a little different. Boom, boom. Ah! Sometimes you're too close to parry that attack effectively, but if you do parry that last hit, he will go down, and you can do the right trigger combo again. Exceptionally clean fight, at least from my perspective. That's how you should be doing it. Like I said, spear is the tool of choice because it just gives you so much free damage. Okay, Corrupted Monk. I did not expect to be fighting this one. Alright, so Corrupted Monk, you can use a few things. You won't need the Fear Gourd. You do want 10 Fistfuls of Ash, and you want at least 3 Snap Seeds. I am going to use Confetti. It's going to make it a little bit harder to see what I'm doing. But essentially, Confetti is just so you do more damage to it. You don't need it. It's not necessary, but it's helpful. And then you do Fistful of Ash, 2 attacks. Fistful of Ash, 2 attacks. Just do that until you're out of Fistfuls of Ash. And then the same thing with Snap Seeds, but use only three of them. Because you can only use 3 of them in this fight. Well, only 3 of them will damage and stagger the monk. Otherwise, the monk is a quite challenging fight as a sort of get good fight. But with this strategy, just watch. Literally stun lock. Oh. Messed up there and accidentally. Stopped using items. Sometimes you can only get 1 hit off in the last Snap Seed, but look, this monk is almost dead already. And now I just need to parry a couple attacks or hit. And then we're good. The actual monk fight is honestly another of my favorites. Oh, I thought I was already dead. I didn't realize I was still alive. Okay. Really giving me a run for my money on this last part. Alright, cool. We got there. So yeah, you can stun lock it for... In a normal playthrough, if you're using Confetti, it will do its entire health bar, and you'll just win the fight right out. So it's an easy fight, and this gives you attack damage, so it's great. As you can see in the gauntlet, even though I have 99 attack, I don't know if that affects the gauntlet, but it did most of its health, and then you can just fight it straight up afterwards. Normally the monk is a pretty difficult to get good fight, but once you're more confident with your parries, it's not too bad. Okay, Owl. I love this fight. I absolutely love this fight. So you want shurikens. Always have shurikens ready when you're fighting Owl, because sometimes he'll do the thing that the samurai mini bosses do, and it restores most of his his fatigue back, his posture, and you don't want that to happen. So hit him with a shuriken when he tries to do it, because he'll always try to do it when he's either really far away or when he's already made an impenetrable shield of poison between him and you that you'll poison yourself if you walk onto it. You may notice I am exceptionally aggressive with Owl, because a lot of times he'll be in the middle of an attack and he will not cancel it, but if you hit him during it, you'll stagger him, so it's free damage. And so that's what we're going to try to do. This works on the harder version of Owl too. I mean, yes, of course, I might just get absolutely wrecked at the beginning of the fight. I'm gonna fix that. Okay, that little heal blocker. See, I didn't try to parry that last attack, I just knew I would hit him before he could attack. I dashed to the side to avoid this. If you get behind him when he does that, behind him enough, I didn't. Then you get 2 free hits off on him. And we failed. I did not expect my run to end here. So I'm going to Gauntlet of Strength Mortal Journey Path has been unlocked. I was already playing it. I guess I'll just keep going, but using the Reflection of Strength instead. So, Great Shinobi Owl, let's just fight him again, using the Reflection of Strength. My mistake, got kicked out of it a lot earlier than I expected to be. I didn't necessarily think I would beat it first time, but there was a chance. Sometimes you can just walk around and you don't even need to dash. See all that free damage I just got on him? That was because I assumed he would attack. I didn't know he would attack, but I assumed he would. Also, if he ever jumps back, just walk forward casually and attack him. You will almost certainly get a free hit. Now I need to run away. Most bosses, you can run away at least a little bit while fighting them. Knocks you down, come attack him, and then get complimented. You can dash and avoid the smoke screen. Bit of an awkward start to this phase. You honestly can treat this phase almost exactly the same as phase 1. He doesn't do that many attacks that are that different. See, when he smoke screened, I dashed back, my camera unlocked, because that's what the smoke screen does, and then I attacked. I couldn't see him, but I knew he would be there. He will always try to attack you after that. Cool. He's fighting. And you'll notice actually with a lot of bosses that you can get into attack, parry, attack, parry, attack, parry combos. I did that both in phase 1 of this fight and phase 2. That is my personal... There's a type of enemy in the game which you almost always want to use that against, and it is my personal favorite to use that combo against, and that is the purple ninjas. There's 3 different types. There's the regular kind, there's the kind that summon dogs, and there's the kind that use poison attacks. One does both, actually. Some of them are mini bosses, some of them are just regular enemies. I need to go back because I need to see what the next actual fight is. I'll take notes on this just so that I can actually see who's next. Alright, Gauntlet of Strength, Mortal Journey. Okay, so it goes. I'm gonna take just some on this. So I just beat Owl, Headless Ape, Emma, Ashina, Ishin. Oh, I spelled it right. Go me. Okay, then True Monk. That's a fun fight. Father Owl, Demon of Hatred. Pushover Genichiro. I'm gonna call him that. Sword Saint Ishin. Inner Genichiro. Actual challenging Genichiro. I like that fight. Inner Father. The Daddy Issues fight. And then Inner Ishin. I don't think Inner Ishin is that much harder than just normal Sword Saint Ishin. Alright. But I'm gonna do these via reflections. I'll do the gauntlet later. So, Headless Ape. This is one where you find the ape is already headless. Again, spear. I try to minimize my usage of the spear in the start of this fight. Too close to the wall to run away effectively. I mean, if it gives it to me, I will. Use the spear against me. Run away at the right time for the scream attack, you will take no damage. That's why I don't even use the lilac umbrella. You'll eventually recognize what safe distance you can get away to. Okay, the next, there is another tool I've recently been experimenting with in this fight, and that is it's a fire tool, but it's the Sparking Axe. I like the Sparking Axe. Because I try to let this ape just sort of tank. I like to run around and then try to deal as much damage as I can to the ape, which that surprisingly did no damage. You can also just waste all your Lazulite shurikens or whatever shurikens on the green ape. Because once you kill it, this fight just becomes a normal headless ape fight. And yes, you'll notice me sprinting around a lot. What I prefer to be happening is that green ape comes and tries to attack me, while white ape just does nothing. But white ape is using all the closing distance attacks, and green ape is not doing any of them. So it's a bit tough. Ooh. Again, not a lot of damage, but great opportunity. All right, I'll take it. And white ape just spent a lot of time doing a whole lot of nothing. And that's when you want to just get into the green ape's face and attack. Uh-oh. This is not where I want to be. Stuck in a wall. Okay. That should be plenty. Go. Finish it off. And then back to normal 8 fight. Oh, so rarely does that combo, but it does almost no damage, so it's fine. Ah, almost. I missed the parry. Usually won't have to worry too much about terror in this fight, as long as you just don't face tank the yell. Right trigger, forward dash, attack. You get a lot of damage. I tried to conserve 3 spirit emblems so that I could still do that combo in the rest of this. Almost. I'm parrying too early, so I'm just blocking. After headless ape, it's gonna be Emma. Now, Emma, I don't know, man. You'll notice her moveset is pretty much the same as Ashina Ishin, or very similar to it. It's a one-phase fight. I still struggle with it because I'm not super used to it, but we'll just do our best. My current recommendations are to be relatively aggressive. You'll get a lot of posture damage just off of her blocking attack. That is a 4-hit combo, and you can always attack her afterwards. If you parry it. Actually, even if you don't parry that last hit and just get the normal block, then Valkyrie. You can see I'm not very confident with Emma. Thankfully, it is only a one-phase fight, like I said, so you can spend all your resources on that one phase. This would not be the case if you were actually going in the Shura path, in which case you have to fight as a machine right after it. So you have to be careful about how much resources you're using.
まだですシュラを野放しにはできぬ
Going into normal Ashina with 6 boards would make me worried. So in the Shura ending, which I only ever do one time on a given like save file, this would worry me. Alright, after Emma, of course it's Ishin Ashina. For Ishin, you want firecrackers. For phase 2. He will use an attack. Oh, right. That's the difference between inner Ishin, like Sword Saint, as well. So you want firecrackers only for phase 2. He'll use an attack that is insanely difficult to block, insanely difficult to get away from, parry, because it'll still damage you if you block it. But you can just interrupt him at the beginning of it, and he will never even get to use it. So, Ishin. Okay, you can actually parry that second attack if he dodges you. Oh. Whenever he uses that overhead slow attack, always try to dodge around him. Just to train yourself. One, you'll get more hits that way. And 2, in phase 2, that is the only way to block that attack. If he ever slowly walks to the side a little bit, you know he's about to use that stab attack. Again, walk around him. This is for phase 2. Alright, I'm going to make sure I have firecrackers equipped. This attack, always firecracker. Otherwise, it's just a mess. And see how I said always go around him? That attack I'm still not very used to. You can run far enough away that if he does that attack, it's fine. Jump this attack. He'll yell right before using the fire wave, the long fire wave, not the wide one. Oh. I was too close to him to effectively dodge that. If you do perfect parry that attack that I've always been running away from, you won't take any damage, but it's very difficult to. No! Okay. See, that was only the first of 3 parts of that attack. And he killed me even with just the first part. That's why try to firecracker him out of it if you can. Whew. Okay, we got there.
Sekiro yo. Kitte.
And the reason I'm not very proficient at this fight is because I almost never go for the Shura ending. Of course, I mean, that's an excuse, but that is why. Okay, next is the True Monk. I love the True Monk fight. Special tools, you don't need any. Just keep your... Oh, yes, there is one tool you might need. And that is the purple cord. Or just, what do you call it? This one, the pacifying agent. If you have enough of them. Because it's phase 3, it uses terror. So, True Monk. True Monk has an interesting strategy. Most of the fight is just a get good, but the True Monk has an interesting strategy of skipping phase 2. Almost. Oh, that's why my performance has gone down, because I am recording this as well. Normally I just stream and don't record, but I wanted to record myself fighting the gauntlet so that I can talk about all the strategies and whatnot. Oh. Too late. Running away is always an option. This fight, you'll get a healthy mix of both. You can parry the second part of that attack, which I didn't know until recently. Okay, cool. See that tree in the background? This one. When you start hearing moans, grapple to it. And then, jump over here and death blow. Immediate phase 2 skip. Alright, phase 3, you want to be more aggressive. You can a lot of times get a bunch of free damage. The final hit of that combo always comes out a little bit faster than the others. If she uses that attack, dash to the side. Or away, but if you dash to the side, you'll get free damage. The first two of those, like, it looks like an attack, but it doesn't do anything. Side, attack. I got too big. Oh, said the first 2 attacks don't actually do anything. That's fine. Again, one of my favorites. Love this one. Alright, next is Father Owl. Not Inner Father. Owl Father. Inner Father is the same, but harder. So, not actually. A lot of... Okay. I was against a pillar during that attack, but if you are not next to a pillar during that attack, the throw gunpowder and then slash attack Then, not this one, but another one. Then you can dash backwards and then just walk up. This one. Dash backwards, walk up and hit him. Even though it looked like that it went right through me, I took no damage from that. When he does that, and then like slash attack, always dodge it at the last minute, or he will switch into a different attack. Okay, now I'm gonna focus on the fight. You can get up to 4 hits on that. My camera being weird. Oh, that still hit me. That was at the very end of that attack's range. Dash back, walk up. I just have to dodge at the last moment. Sometimes he teleports into his owl, sometimes he doesn't when you do that attack. That's what I mean. Also, never, ever use a stab attack against him in this fight. He will Makira you and do like 90% of your health damage. Dash, 3, 4. So that was a pretty much perfect execution of that attack. I've already messed it up several times, but you know, that's what it should look like when you get it just right. Action, finish him off. Ah, he went into his owl. Always be aware of what to relock on during the fight. Very clean owl, by the way. I mean, by my standards, I ain't no speedrunner. I'm just okay at this. Alright, who's next? Demon of Hatred. That's a really interesting fight. It's more Dark Soulsian than any other fight in this, because the amount of focus on parrying is less than any other fight in the game. You can fight Demon of Hatred without parrying at all. There are still times when it's better to, but you don't necessarily need to. I also forgot a tool. For the Demon of Hatred, you want the Suzaku's Lotus Umbrella. You can technically do it without it. It is so much harder without it. You can see I'm really aggressive during this one. Run away when he jumps, come back and hit him some more. parry that combo, you will take damage when he hits you with his firearm. You can either parry his attacks, or you can just run away from him, dash around him, whatever. That's a sweep attack, even though it doesn't look like it. And whenever he's really far away from you, always spend as much of the time as you can sprinting towards him. You can just block that, you don't need to parry it. You can dash that last one instead of blocking it. And again, he's far away, so I sprint towards him. Try to use that attack, which will just hurt you real bad if you don't. He's taking not very much damage. That's a single attack. Alright, basic. This is when you need to from here on out. Let him contemplate his life choices for a little while, because he's invulnerable. And that will knock you back. You might be able to get one lucky hit off at this point, but probably not. Alright. After this dash, he almost always does this. Now, if you're close enough, you don't need to do anything. So again, always sprint after him. But otherwise, you will need to use the umbrella at that point. You don't need to be so careful with the timing, you just need to use it. If you time it perfectly, you'll get a parry, but it's not needed. It'll do good posture damage. But yeah, a lot of the attacks you use, they won't even hit you if you're just really close to them. Run away, like that, jumps. I've been parrying the first hit of that pretty much every time, and it does a little bit of damage to me. You don't always need to. You can dodge it, I think, but then you'll take more damage, of course. But I parry it because it's a lot easier for me. Wary of the fires on the battlefield, they will burn you. Thank you, tree. That would have done a lot of damage to me if that tree wasn't there. Phase 2 complete. Alright, phase 3, he just attack. It's not always certain whether that attack is going to hit you or not. It beeps twice, and since it beeps twice, you have to jump twice to switch attack levels. Also, his like sweep dash attack in this phase can hit twice, or can have 2 dashes in this phase and only this phase. You might need to jump that twice. This attack, or you can do that afterwards. I timed it well, and so I parried it, but it did not. Posture damage, which is fun. So that attack again. It's sort of random whether it hits you or not because it's based on positioning. So yeah, twice. That's a little kabuki pose, which I love. One for 3 damage. Oh no. The tree was in the way of me running away. He can actually use that head bash as the 3-hit combo. He didn't this time. He actually doesn't say finish me, please. He says, hey, you. Please. I'm counting on you. And then he says, hey, you. Thanks. Miss my prosthetic always smokes after this fight. I think it's because blocking the fire attack with this causes it to smoke more. It's probably a glitch, but I'm not 100%. It's purely visual, so it doesn't matter. Alright, so Demon of Hatred. Pushover Genichiro, also known as Genichiro Way of Tomoe. You don't need anything special for this fight. He has the Mortal Blade, but I'll show you how to deal with that. You run up to him, let him pose, and then hit him. And then dash around him. And you just get like 5 hits. Otherwise, his moveset is the same Genichiro moveset you've seen this whole time. That's why I call him Pushover Genichiro, because his fighting style essentially has not changed this entire time. And that fight, single phase fight. Plus, I fought this guy a million times because I usually go for the ending in which you fight him. All right. Where's the? There's usually not an idol in this fight. Usually we fight a fight right after this. Okay, so now Sword Saint Ishin. I'll say normal final boss. Great fun fight. You don't need any special tools for it. None that I would recommend. It's just a good fight. You don't have to worry about being too aggressive. You might use more unblockable attacks if you do get too aggressive with them. But that's just knowing the appropriate response. That was my best phase 1 I've ever known. Oh, right, I forgot that wasn't actually usually far enough away. That doesn't matter. But you can parry that perfectly. If you just block it, you'll take damage, or you can jump on the counter with that attack. Run away and heal. Ouch. Oh my god. I do consider phase 2 of this fight to be the hardest fight. Phase 3 is essentially the same, but he occasionally uses lightning attacks. Come on! He occasionally uses lightning attacks, and those are very easily dealt with. They're really slow. That one's killing me. Not playing. Not a very good result. know what just happened. Alright, phase 3. Push over time. Okay, that's never happened to me before. Usually if you're in the air, that will hit you. And that's what you want. If it hits you, you can send it back while you're in the air. Don't jump too early, or else you'll fall to the ground and it will still damage you and shock you. Huge damage. So jump, you know, pretty much as late as possible. Oh, I was still alive after that. That attack just first round back to him. Fine. Won't always. Oh dear. Okay. Well, I'm not playing very well. So I'm going to have to use some extra healing items. You can parry that attack perfectly and you'll take no damage from it. It's one of those block it and you'll take a lot of damage though. Remember, a lot of these really large arena fights, you can just do that. Just run. That's the end. Whew, very close fight. A lot closer than I was expecting, but yeah. And yes, in this fight, you will have to perform better than me to win. Unless you want to use your Divine Grasp, because I used it because I knew I wouldn't use it. Just in the memory section. I know I'm not covering every attack these guys will use, but you know, that's how it goes sometimes. Don't always see see all their attacks or remember everything they use. Alright, the next 3 fights, which are the final 3 fights, are entirely gauntlet fights. There's Genichiro, Father, and Ishin again. I fought all these guys already, but their inner fights are much harder. No specific tools for any of them. Maybe shurikens for Owl, but I haven't seen him use the ability that you need shurikens for. They are entirely optional and entirely get good fights. That one you have to parry perfectly, otherwise it'll do a lot of damage to you. Otherwise, there's like one other attack that Genichiro in this form uses. But treat him the same way. Pretty aggressive, often good to keep him against the wall. That was the altered version of that attack that I was talking about earlier. If you get hit by the first part of that attack, you can parry the rest of it. If you get hit by all 3 parts of it, it will kill you. And as you can see, it does a lot of damage to you. Block it, but don't parry it. Alright. Phase 1 done. Phase 2 is identical. I think. I don't know if he doesn't use that stab. Ichiro is probably the best boss to look good while winning. if you are good at it, you will look really good while fighting. That and owl. In phase 3 of this fight, do not return any of his lightning attacks. Always try to dodge them. Because one of them, if you return it, it won't actually hit him, and he'll just use another one. And you can probably return the second one. But if you just dodge the first one, you won't even use the second one, and you'll get a free hit on it anyway. Focus so that they don't die. And since this is a good time to test, because I don't know 100% whether or not you actually lose items in the memory fights, I'm going to use a Jizo. I got a lot of them. I have 91 total. Okay, they work really fast. To restore the second resurrection charge I used. There's Inner Genichiro, now it's Inner Father. Again, no tools, just Gordon parrying. You can have shurikens equipped. I don't know if you need them. Notice I hadn't parried at all up to that point. Almost got one. Thought that. Yeah, perfect. Dash back, forward, hit it. Since Owl can... Ooh, he got me. I'll take it.
狼よ、よくぞここまで鍛え上げた。褒美を取らず、我が福を見せてやろう。
Firebird, because otherwise he'll do a harder to block attack. Oh goodness. Not made much progress. Always try to stay as far away from the target as you can. Didn't know what he was doing, guys. Sometimes it's better not to run away and heal, but to let him finish his combo. If you know the appropriate response, get the damage in, he will still. Interesting. So it's a vertical bird. That is the difference. Oh. Okay. I've only beaten him once, so I don't know all of his attacks. It seems to still be a combination of his normal attacks. Yeah. Ooh, this is the fight I was probably most worried about. Because I'm least familiar with it.
せがれに破れるか存外に心地よいものだ
I really do like the Japanese voice acting in this. Alright, now Inner Ishin. And for Inner Ishin, you want firecrackers. Because he will use an attack you can't even parry. And you can't... so there's three types of unblockable attacks. There's stabs, there's sweeps, and there's grabs. Stabs you can actually parry, or you can Mikiri. You can't block. Of course, they're unblockables. Sweeps you can jump and usually bounce off the person's head and do posture damage. And grabs, you just run away. Inner Ishin has an attack you cannot do any of those with. Not reliably, anyway. Just like Ashina Ishin. So instead, you use firecrackers, and when you see him charging up for that attack, you throw some firecrackers out and he stops it. I have only seen him do this attack on phase 1. On phase 2, he has another insanely crazy attack, but the response is much simpler. You run away. In the phase 1 version, firecrackers are the only reliable way I've seen to stop his attack. And so you firecrack him while he's still charging up. It is also the first attack he uses almost every time. So we do it. We try it. We go for the firecrackers.
Sekiro!
This. I didn't have it prepared. Otherwise, phase 1 is pretty much the same, if I remember correctly. That was really close. For my Mikiri, they're just not working. Lo and behold, I didn't even need firecrackers. Because I messed it up the first time. He ends this with a stab. Period. Here's the attack. There's two versions of it. One's a stab and one's a sort of vertical sweep. And both you can avoid by just running away. Behind him when he does that, you get 2 free hits. You have to be pretty well behind him, though. Oh no! Okay, you can run away from him, assuming you don't fall off the cliff. again, phase 2 is always the hardest with machine. Or at least the hardest before. And yes, if you effectively keep your distance, you don't even have to parry that, but you will get more posture damage on him if you do. Done. Phase 3, he starts same as phase 2 again. Starts using lightning attacks in return. And get some free damage on it. If he uses this, run the heck away. I can imagine that there's a different way to beat that, or a different intended way. But running away works. You don't have to worry about timings. That's the second time that's just missed. Never seen that before. Besides, you know, today. There's the second version of that attack. Yes, please use that attack points in a row and give me the easy win. And that's how we do it. Got him. And the machine has to be a badass right at the end. He knows he's lost, and he's just like... Just give me my samurai's death if you can get the red circle.
Yari! 見事じゃ赤色さらば
That's how we do. Alright, that is every boss in the game. And no, I did not beat the gauntlet because I got kicked out at the first owl fight. Because I got wrecked. But hopefully that'll help you out if you need help on the strategies on these bosses. And that's me done.